In May of 2011, I actually lost my job. It took roughly about 5 weeks for me to start drawing unemployment. When I finally got approved for unemployment, I was told that I would only get $220 a week. And I just kind of like lost it. I was like, God, I don't know how you're gonna make this happen. That's only $880 a month. And my bills are ranging from $1,200 to $1,300. How am I gonna make this happen? However, at the end of the summer, at the end of September, my unemployment ran out. So this little $880 that I had been depending on, living by, and swearing by was getting ready to run out. I came to church, it was October 2nd. I had just got my last and final unemployment payment. And I was late this day. We happened to pass the administrative offices on our way to the overflow. And I turned to my cousin, I turned to my friend, I said, I wonder if the church is hiring. So no sooner than I finished my statement, Mr. Ernest, who is part of the facilities team, turns around, he said, you need a job? Come on Monday morning at 9 a.m. and fill out the application. I got up that morning and I went and filled out my application that very next day, and now I have a job at Mount Zion Baptist Church. I am part of the administrative staff, thank you, Lord. And it's all because I just didn't give up faith. And I just trusted and I believed that God had a plan for me. I didn't understand it. I couldn't see it. I couldn't see past today or that day. But I knew that God had something for me if I just kept at it, if I just stuck with it, if I just did what he told me to do, he would let it all come to pass, and he did. I encourage everybody who's going through any type of situation financially, don't let those numbers control you. Like, the God we serve, again, does everything decent and in order, and he's very strategic with it. So you might have a negative balance right now, you might have a zero, you might not have any change, a dime in your pocket, but God is up to something, and you just have to trust and believe that. Give him one more time, you do one more thing he tells you to do, your overflow is coming. So I just as mad as I got walking to the overflow, my overflow was in the overflow. So you have to trust and believe that. My name is Latasha Sampson, and I am a survivor.
A couple of days before New Year's Eve, Nariel had started getting sick. She was kind of fluctuating between a fever of 102 and 105. Friday morning, I would say, about 3 in the morning, we went to the hospital. It got worse. Her fever gradually began to increase. We sat in the hospital until about 8 or 9 in the morning. They couldn't find out what was wrong with her. They took tests, they drew her blood. They couldn't figure out anything what was going on with her. They couldn't understand why she was hallucinating. She was seeing just things come out and grabbing her. The cabinets were moving, the doors were moving, and it was just really scary to not be able to know what to do for her, and I'm her mom. It was the night of the New Year's Eve service. We came here to church at Mount Zion, and she was okay again. And then all of a sudden, we were sitting on the pew, and she's just hot, just burning up hot, sick. So kind of near the end of service, I walked down to the altar and I asked Bishop if he could pray over her. If it wouldn't be too much to lay hands on her and just pray over her, because I knew it was something spiritual that was going on. I knew that it was something spiritual because in my daily walk, I see a lot of things where the enemy tries to attack me or come at me, because I'm big on encouraging people and being there for people. And I've helped a lot of people overcome things. And it was kind of like, he's trying to do things on my job, he's trying to do things in my family. And I kind of felt like the devil was upset because he couldn't find that thing that would upset me or annoy me or throw me off of my balance. So he tried to attack my kids. There's nothing that God doesn't know about. He already knew how it was going to work out for my daughter before we came to church, before we even got to the hospital to see if they knew what was wrong with her. There's nothing that you can't believe in God for.
We are the Adams family, and we are survivors.
I was just 16 years old, a sophomore in high school, getting ready for school like any other morning, when in the shower I felt a lump. I didn't think anything of it, but during a physical, a short time later, my doctor felt the lump and suggested that I get a biopsy. Not only did it come out to be cancer, but it was a very rare and aggressive breast cancer, and I was only 16 years old. Up to that point, I had always had a relationship with God. I'm a pastor's kid, but that was truly the time that I had to come to know God for myself. I had never been more afraid. I had never been more horrified. No one in my family had breast cancer. None of my friends experienced breast cancer, but that was the time that I had to know God for myself. I'll never forget what it was like laying on that radiation table, marked up with the little dots, and back then they used Sharpie markers that they didn't want us to wash off so that they would be sure to get that radiation just right. And at night I would feel like a monster and feel like, will I ever get married? Will I ever have children? Who would love somebody like me? In the midst of it all, I had to remember Jeremiah 29:11, which tells us that He has a plan for us, a plan to prosper us and not to harm us. And I knew that no matter what this life would hold, He had the end mapped out even from the beginning. Now it's been 17 years since that diagnosis. I'm now 33 years old. I've had to have annual mammograms every year, but for the first time this past summer, I had a mammogram that turned out not so well. Just 6 weeks ago, I had to undergo a double mastectomy. It was one of my worst fears coming true. The enemy tried to taunt me and make me feel like, you thought it was over, but I have you. Breast cancer was my battle, but each and every one of us have our own cross. And I challenge you today to trust God. Trust that God does have a divine plan for your life. And no matter what you're going through, no matter how hurtful and horrific it feels right now, God is going to use your life and your voice as a testimony of His faithfulness. What you're going through is not about you. It's to bless somebody else. So use your life today as a blessing. My name is Nikia Hammonds-Blakely, and I am a survivor.